Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 119. Now as I stand here, it is actually today Rosie's third birthday and it's been a fantastic week and particularly an awesome weekend with a big party yesterday, and today's been her birthday and it's been brilliant. So it's been quite a busy week for me in real life, but I've managed to get quite a lot done in the odds and sods of time that I find generally during the work day or in the evenings. So I have got quite a bit done. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video. I really hope you do. I've not yet given her the dragon, which you'll see in this video. So you'll have to wait for next week to see the reaction pictures of that. I'll be giving that to her Sunday evening with dinner. That's when she gets her dragons on a special day, is at the end of dinner time. So yes, you have to wait for that. But other than that, what a great weekend. What a fantastic thing it is to be a dad. And what fun it is making terrain and doing these videos. So thank you so much for watching, as I say, and I'll see you again at the end. So I've just done something I said I was going to do ages ago, and I've trimmed down for these side barriers. What I've done is I've taken some of the green foam again, trimmed it to a size, and then used the Proxxon to shave off the texture, which is something that Proxxon is just so good at. It really is good. So now what I'm going to do is come along and glue these in place just like that. So stick these there and on the inside, and then when that's stuck, then I am going to look at actually gluing the bridge in place. Though I think I might do a little bit of the modelling compound back here. It's going to be a bit of a challenge this, because access down there is not very easy. But I don't want to put modelling compound too much so that then the bridge doesn't fit in. So I kind of need to juggle that timing and make sure that my modelling compound goes on not too early and not too late, basically. So yeah, but the next thing is the modelling compound and getting all of the final parts of the 3D and the terrain in. Now I will probably make use of some screwed up newspaper to bulk some of this out. So certainly where you've got underneath in here, we've got quite a large void. I'll probably put some masking tape over there or screwed up newspaper and throw it in, and then I can modelling compound over the top of that. And for some of these little areas here, rather than use modelling compound for all of that, I can screw up a bit of newspaper and or a packing paper, and that will be very, very good. The other thing that I need to do is the buttress. So it might actually be that I should do the buttress next, and then when the buttress is in, then start doing the modelling compound. So maybe I'll do that. But anyway, first, before all of that, I'm going to glue this in place, just using the same super strong glue as I've used on the rest of it. And when that's done, I will have a think about when I'm going to do the buttress. So I ended up coming back in with the hot wire cutter and trimming down the back a bit, making this crevice a little bit more obvious, and also just shaping off around here, which is what prompted me to do it, to do a little bit more shaping around here. And the reason is what I've worked out what I need to do is I'm going to need to work on everything below the bridge now, but not this shelf over here, because this shelf over here will have the buttress which is attached to the bridge. So I'm going to work on all of this now with the modelling compound, obviously avoiding the sections where the uprights go, so everything back here, then put the bridge in, stick that in place, glue that in place, then fill in around where the uprights are, and then work on the buttress and then work on the back. So that's going to have to be how I do it. So what I'm going to do now is going to mix up some modelling compound, and I'm going to come along and I'm going to start to work specifically on the areas which are going to be pretty much impossible to reach once I've got the bridge in place. So I will bring you along for that. I don't know whether I'll talk or whether I'll just put some music on, and even whether I'll show all of it. But I'll at least show some of it, how I'm going to work out and how I'm going to do these. This work. I might actually shave that down even a little bit more, or maybe just build up an angle there, because this is where this kind of actually needs to come up a little bit higher. I've made a little bit of a, it's not quite right for the for how it looks on the picture. But it's going to be fine. So yeah, I'll get some modelling compound and I'll bring you along and show you what I'm going to do with that in a second. I've got this area here, which is a gap which I've left, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that with packing material, and then I can go over the top of it with my modelling compound, which is going on quite nicely. Now this is going to make a horrendous noise, so I'll probably mute the sound while I'm doing this. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this packing material here. This is not useful for anything really, it will just be going in the bin if I didn't use it like this. I'm going to tear some up, screw it up and stuff it in that gap until I've got the contour I want, and then I can come over the top with modelling compound. So I will get that done. It's quite simple, but you can watch what it looks like. Well, there we are. You can see that that has packed in really nicely, and now I'm going to be able to skim over the top of that without wasting lots of material. So I've got another section just in front actually that I need to fill as well, so I'll get that done and then I will do the compound at the top, so I'll show you what that looks like. Oh yeah, I can see just how effective and efficient that is. You can use anything really. You can use screwed up junk mail. I also use brown paper, packing materials that comes. I use all sorts of different things like that that gets shipped to me and would otherwise just be waste. It's a really nice way of recycling and bulking things out, especially when you're not totally sure when you're doing your cutting of your model, where your contours are exactly going to be. Or in this case, I will be packing around the uprights with the same material and then coming in with the modelling compound to make it smooth, and it's going to work really, really well. So just a little tip, a little hint. I'm nearly done for this session of this. I'm going to do another 10-15 minutes and then I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to get an early night tonight. So I'll turn the camera off now. I'll carry on basically doing what you see. I'm just going to work along the back area here. I've come down the front a little bit here, but mainly I'm focusing along the back and below the road. So yeah, a little bit more to do, and then I'll carry on again tomorrow. I'm also taking this slowly because I really don't want this to warp, and there's a lot of moisture that goes into the modelling compound, so I want that to completely dry and only add on small amounts and put small amounts of water onto the wood. Even in the small areas that it's hitting it right down here at the front. So yeah, a big moment in this build. Pretty excited to see this being done. One thing I've just realised I missed, which I'm about to fix, is I should have had little kind of like notches out in line with these notches in on the double width. So I can do that quite easily by positioning each by lining them up like that, and then I can put a double glue and stick them in. So I've got my super sticky glue, just put a smear of that on it, like so. It's got a little bit of dried plug there. Might actually get another smear of that. There we are, it's better. And then sit it in there like so, sit that on top like so, and that will be positioned perfectly. So I'll do the same kind of idea across the board, and that will then finish off the design of this barrier. And I noticed this because I was looking much more closely at some of the clips. I am getting closer and closer to being able to do the back as well, which should be the next thing. But yeah, that's something I missed. Almost missed the fact that they were there. Well, here it is, the base for the dragon, for Rosie. It's printed out pretty well. I didn't quite support that back corner, as you can see, didn't support that corner enough, which I'm annoyed about because I was definitely tried to, but I must have just slightly misclicked. But it's okay, it doesn't actually affect how it looks. It's going to be at the back. And the dragon is going to be put here. So I'm going to mount the dragon here, and then what I'll do is I'll paint it all up. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to mount the dragon before painting or not, but I'm going to have a think about that and get it primed and painted. And I've got less than a week now, so I need to crack on with it. but I'm really pleased. It was a really nice base. This is a base topper. There was a Kickstarter ages ago that I backed. I nearly forgot I had it. So yeah, it's good to make use of this, and I think that'll look really, really nice. So that printed off in the new location for the printer inside the tent, and the failure was my fault, not the, it wasn't an uneven surface, so that's really good. This morning I lifted the road back in, and I've realised that, yeah, I did make a mistake yesterday. I was rushing ahead a little bit much. What I should have done actually is drawn on here where I wanted the slope to go to, because you can see that on the picture we have this nice kind of like scrubby area, and it's still way too low. So I have these small bits of polystyrene that came out of a unit I actually put together yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to try to cut down some of these and build up the area with the polystyrene. If that doesn't prove to work, then I will use my screwed up newspaper trick and we'll just bulk up a little bit more, but I should be able to do it certainly with some of these smaller bits. You can see if I stick that there, then another piece on top, then that's given me the bulk that I'll be able to kind of build this little tree lined area in here. So I'm going to need to do that. It's a bit of a shame, wasted a little bit of the modelling compound, but not too much. It's only that area that's gone wrong, because everywhere else is looking absolutely brilliant. I'm very pleased with it. So I'm going to build that up. I'll show you what I've done when I've done it. I can have a little bit of a play, and yeah, onwards and upwards. So I've gone in here, used that scrap polystyrene, like I said, glued it in place with my super strong glue. That has also helped me to get the contour here so that I'm not in the way of the bridge. So what I'm now going to do is come along, mix up some more of the modelling compound, and I'm going to try and get probably another 50% of the board done. So yeah, just going to mix some compound and smear it on. I'm not going to go too high. That was a lesson to me there. I shouldn't have done that, because I'm actually going to do this a line back, because this is where the cliff is. So I'm going to need to do that a little bit more sculpting where those stripes are. So I'm going to just carry on along the bottom and get as much of it done before I kind of fall asleep, because it's been another busy day. But yeah, so we'll just carry along here. And I might even try and get into the cave a bit, but I'm not sure. So I'll bring you back at the end of the session, show you how much I've got done, and if there's anything interesting, then I'll turn the camera on as well. But mostly it's just going to be mixing, smearing. So I'm working at my computer desk, which is incredibly messy, but I'm having a lot of fun with this. So what I've got on the screen just out of shot is one of the screenshots I've taken from the film, and I've got my backdrop, which I have scraped with a wire brush. And what I'm now doing is building up in relief all of the shapes which are going to go to make the look of the back of Erebor at this approach to the forges. So here's my first section. I've put some of my super strong glue on it, scraped up both sides, and there it is, good grab. So the next bit is going to be using some blue foam, which I'm going to need to trim down. But the really good thing is I've got all this scrap, and one of the things I've got here is a angle that was already cut that actually matches an angle which is on the screenshot. So yeah, so I'm going to be trimming these down, gluing them in place, building up a relief on this backboard, and then anything that's not got the square and the shapes in it will go to modelling compound, and I'll make it look like rock. So I'm going to sit down and get this done, and when it's finished I'll show what it looks like. So that worked out about as well as I could have hoped. I've put the geometric shapes in, which matches close enough for me to the film, and that's now glued in place using my super strong extreme power fix thing. And I've just been having an argument about whether I'm going to glue these in place now, and actually I think I am. So I've got my set square to make sure that everything is absolutely square across, and I'm actually going to glue this back one to the backboard as well as to the floor, which is going to give that a little bit more structure at this stage. And then I'll just set these down and glue them in place. The only thing I've just realised I haven't done, which I'm going to need to do, is I haven't actually scraped up, or if I have, it's popped out the bottom of the top of this. So I'm going to need to get my wire brush, get that scraped, and then I will glue these in place, making sure that my square stays here so that everything stays in line. And I think that'll be me done for the bit. And then the next stage is going to be working on the textures. So yeah, flying on this suddenly, which is amazing how it comes together when you do a little bit more backdrop. It's looking quite nice. So I'll get them scraped, then get them glued, and yeah, then I'm done for the night. So this is all now nice and dried and solidly in place, and of course I've realised I've made a mistake. The mistake is that this first level of relief, I should have done at least double thickness, maybe even with the blue foam as well, because now I've only got a very, very thin depth to work with to put the stone effect in. So what I'm doing, actually I'm going to put a little bit more water in that. I'm mixing up a very thin mix of modelling compound. It's going to be very watery, which means I'm going to be able to spread it on very thin, and then when it's dried I can come along and I can do a little bit of carving in it to do the rock shapes if I need to. So yeah, really, as I say, should have done a much thicker, much more prominent first level of the relief. But hey, it wouldn't be a build of mine if I didn't make a little mistake here and there. So I'll be smearing that in as thin as I can, attempting to make it so that it isn't too obvious the mistake I've made, and I might need to mix up a little bit more, I'm not sure. So I'll smear that in, and then when it's dried and I'm coming to have a look at actually how to do the rock texture on it, if I need to make any edits to it or not, any carving, then I'll turn the camera back on. But for now, it's just going to be quite a lot of this very careful smearing in. But with this done, this diorama is rapidly approaching completion, and actually I need to get on to doing the miniatures. I might do them next. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to carry on with this, and I will bring you back when I get to the next step. This ended up being done before I could film. I was priming, and it fell out. It fell out of the little hole I'd made for it. So what I've done is I've glued it back in place after I finished priming, and then I've stuck this bit of wood across the front just to act as a little bit more support. So the next thing to do will be to actually, when the priming is finished, to actually paint the spider and then come back and do the rest of the terrain on the base, for which I will be using the stuff that was sent to me with the miniature. So yeah, good to have made a little bit of progress. I was going to film before and talk about this little bit of wood, just cut it out of a branch that I found on the ground, and I've just stuck it across the front. So yeah, next up, as I say, paint, and then I'll be back once I finish painting and we'll have a look at how I'm going to do the base. So this has dried nicely. It actually dried within a couple of hours when I was doing it before, but it's been a few days since then because I've been busy. So that's dried nicely. So what I'm going to come along and do now is, using my usual technique with watered down PVA and the flock, I'm going to apply, not all over, but over most of it, a mix of light and dark green flocks. And then when that's dried, I will seal it again with the same technique, watered down PVA, painted over the top, and then I'm going to stick the dogs in place. So we'll get this flocked, and the next time you see this, I'll be sticking the dogs in place and then working on some of the larger, taller bits of greenery and whatever that I want to add onto it. So yeah, hopefully this won't take much longer from this stage now. Let's get this low level coverage on. Nice and simple to do this. I'll stick this in the sun again. Well, it's dark now, but if it's not all dry by tomorrow, I'll stick it in the sun. It'll dry very quickly. There we are. A little bit more dark. Cool. Right, so let that go off. So I've been making some good progress on applying the modelling compound, and I've just turned this onto its back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along and do the modelling compound along here, which is going to be easier for me to do with it on its back than trying to stick it to a vertical surface. And there's also quite a lot of areas here which is going to make it a bit easier as well. So once I've done all of that, then I will bring it back. We'll do the next section, which will be sticking the bridge in place and then filling in around it, which is going to be nice and easy to do. But yeah, just going to be working on all of this now. So I thought I'd quickly show you. I've also printed out more trucks and another truck back. So I now have enough to make the full trailer. I need to clip off these, clip off the fuel tanks because I don't need them. But they will be able now to work with the struts between them and the plane can sit on top. I'm now starting to get to the point where I really need to start painting these up as well. So I'll be putting these into the painting painting cycle. So yeah, good progress. More modelling compound to be done though. I made some really good progress on this, putting on the modelling compound. And what I'm looking at doing now, if I just kind of zoom in over there, is starting to build the buttress. Now the bridge is not yet the raised road is not yet glued in, but this is where the buttress is going to start. It's going to go into and go underneath the bridge, so the land will slope up to here, and then we will have the concrete buttress and the land will continue to slope up until it meets kind of over here. So what I'm going to do now is glue that down in place so I can lift the bridge out, glue that in place, and then when that's set, I'll be able to come along without the bridge in place and just finish off the rest of the scenery and terrain underneath here, which is going to be very hard access when the bridge is in place. And then once I've done that, I'm pretty much ready to put the bridge down and then fill in these gaps, which you can't see now because I've zoomed in too much. So let me just change that angle a bit. So once I've done that, I'll be able to come in, fill in these gaps here that you can see where the bridge is going to go, and then that'll have to be done after the bridge is glued in place. But I'm getting very close to that time as well. There's a few bits and pieces left to do modelling compound wise on the top, but I'll do that after I've finished working on this. And then I've also got the cave to do, which I'm really looking forward to getting that done. I've kind of done the front of it, done it very smooth as well there, but I've not done inside the cave yet. That'll be one of the last things I do, I reckon. So yeah, very cool progress. Been a couple of days just kind of spending a little bit of time here and there. Get this glued in place, fill the rest of it in, and bring it back when I come to do the next part, which will be the buttress and gluing this bridge down. So yeah, that won't be very long. Probably get to that today, hopefully. This arrived the other day and I totally forgot to record a little show, so I've not opened it yet, and I probably won't open it because it's packed full of stuff. But this is, as you can see, the 1/72 scale model. It's an MDF kit of the Montecassino Abbey, and it comes with the Abbey in MDF, it comes with a Sherman, it comes with 50 Polish infantry, 32 German paratroopers, and a Sturmgeschütz 3. So yeah, and my plan and idea for this is to put it on the model railway, and have it so that, well, I love the look of the building. And obviously the models can go towards chain of command, and originally the idea for model railway was that I would be able to game on it, so this will really draw that together. So there'll be elements I'll be able to game on, and obviously you'll be able to do the Montecassino Abbey. And I think, I'm not totally sure, but I think looking at it, the top comes off, and so you can have it either as the full intact layout or as a wrecked layout. So that could be interesting. But this will go in the stash for the time being, and will be picked up when I get closer to doing the main model railway, when I've got a place for it. But yeah, pretty cool, pretty happy I picked it up. It's quite a rare kit. I got it for a very good price, so I was very happy. So yeah, pretty cool. Tomorrow is Rosie's birthday party, and the next day is her birthday. And I've got it finished. I varnished it this morning, and I'm very pleased with how this has turned out. I've got our 3 favourite colours. Orange is Rosie's, purple is Angela's, and green is mine. So they feature prominently. And yeah, I'm just really pleased with how it looks, and I really hope she likes it. I'm sure she will. So I'll give this to her on her birthday, not before, so I won't give it to her tomorrow. But that can be a nice little surprise. It's another little addition, and I do so love making things for her. And I'm just pleased I've got it done in time. As I said, I'm very happy with it. So there we are, the Clockwork Dragon is there for Rosie's 3rd birthday. And I've got 6 pillars, so I need to have 6 of the Thorin's company. So I have picked out Bilbo, and I have Thorin, and I have Balin. Is that Thorin? Oh, I don't know, I'm rubbish at names. But I know that I've got Bomber, because I've got a bumper. So anyway, so I've got these, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the clippers, I'm going to do some green stuffing, I'm going to snip them down and remove the weapons and just make them look a little bit more like they're actually hiding behind the pillars waiting for Smaug to breathe his fiery breath. So yeah, I'm not going to run the camera because this is going to be a bit fiddly and it will be really difficult to keep it in shot. But once I've done them all, I'll show you what they look like. Hopefully they'll look good. It's not really my central skill this, but you just got to give it a go, haven't you? So that's what I'm going to do. Well, it's the calm after Rosie's party. Oh, what a great party that was. But that's not really the subject of this video. But I'm still wearing my party shirt from that. It's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, more of that. If you want to hear more about that, watch the vlogs. So I'm now ready to start to stick the roadway down and the raised roadway, and I've also just been cutting and putting in place some blue foam up here for the rest of this kind of the wall, the retaining wall. Now a lot of this will be behind modelling compound because it's going to build up like this, but I figured that was probably the best way to do it. So the path through this, how I'm going to do this, I'm going to glue the bridge down. I'm going to make use of my usual super strong glue, get that stuck in place, so the extreme fix, and then when that's all in place, then I will use the same glue to stick this in place and then let that go off, and then I'll be able to come in and fill in these gaps. And yeah, very, very surprisingly, amazingly excited about this because this has been quite a big build and it's really looking really good. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll probably run the camera but not talk while I'm doing it, and so you can see how I go about gluing it down. When that's gone off, there'll be more modelling compound. I'll come along and show you how I'm going to fill in all these gaps, and then we're going to come to the fun part, which is painting and then detailing, which is, as you know if you watch this, very much my favourite part. Now regarding the cars and the vehicles, they've been primed and they're starting to be painted. Still need to put some more colour onto the actual B-52, and I still need to work out how I'm going to go and do the struts that it sits on between the two truck backs. So there's a fair amount yet to do, and you can see here, this is one of Rosie's toys, legs falling off. This is the toy hospital. So the toy hospital is encroaching. So yeah, if you're wondering why there's a stuffed reindeer in shot. But anyway, let's get this glued and yeah, onwards. Brilliant. Alright, let's get a little bit more done on this. So you can see these are going to fit very nicely on this base and they're going to look really nice. And what I've pulled out is a bunch of tufts and other interesting bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to just dot them around. I'm not actually going to do too much. I think that actually looks quite nice. But I've got some nice coloured ones that I'd like to put on. So, and I've got some daffs, though I think the daffs look a little bit odd. They're a bit out of scale, so I don't think I'm going to use the daffs. I'm going to put some of these Serious Play tufts on, and some of these as well from Geek Gaming. Two brilliant suppliers that I can highly recommend. I like them both equally. Serious Play does these colourful ones that are just brilliant. I really like these, and then Luke at Geek Gaming does fantastic green ones which are very, very good. Just reaching over to get my tweezers, because one top tip when you're doing these is don't rely only on the glue that comes, because it's not that great, and don't stick it on using your fingers because you will end up sticking it to yourself. So have a little dab of PVA and then you can set it in place using the tweezers, and that's how you'll find you'll get a really good result. Now I may actually put some white glue onto a plate and dip them on that. That might be a bit easier than attempting to apply it one by one as I'm doing now. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build up some little spots of colour on the base. These are not glued at all at the moment. I've just put them where I'm going to be so I can build around them. And then when I've finished doing these tufts, then I'll stick the two Cane Corso on, and then we'll officially be done. So yeah, I'll bring you back when I'm about to stick the two horses. They look like horses, don't they? The two dogs on. Onwards. Well, there we are. That's done. And what I'm now going to do is bop the feet in white glue and hope that's sufficient. So a bit of white glue on the bottom, and then set this one in place. There we are. And I will do the same for the sitting down one. White glue, just kind of smear it on the contact points and set that in place. And there we are. Hopefully that will dry nicely. I will leave that now to go off, and that's done. Really pleased. What a lovely thing. Bakshi is a beautiful dog, and I look forward to seeing her again when they come back from the UK, and now they'll have a lovely gift waiting for them. So yeah, very happy with how that's turned out. So I've been buying myself toys, and this really is a toy, totally unnecessary, but whatever. I probably shouldn't have done. So as you can see, it is the Proxxon mini table saw, and yeah, I've had it in my basket for ages, and just suddenly decided to pull the trigger, and I did, and it arrived very quickly. I didn't expect it for another week or two, which is very unusual and very pleasant, because often I'm waiting a long time. So I'm gonna get this out of the box, have a quick look at it. This isn't going to be a full unboxing, just have a quick look at what's in there, and yeah, I'll do a proper review video on it once I've used it for a little bit. But I'm pleased to have it, because it's going to make it easier for cutting things to a specific height and length and size and stuff. So yeah, it'll make a little bit more accuracy, so hopefully I'll get quite a lot of use out of it. It wasn't cheap, but yeah, hopefully I'll not have to buy another mini table saw ever. So yeah, let's have a look and see what's inside the box. So when you open the box, this is what you find. It's very nicely packed, all taped in place, lots and lots of single-use plastic, which, as you'll know, is not really my favourite thing in the world, but it is what it is. I should add that just under here, the thing that I didn't mention is a couple of different blades, a very fine blade for working with much softer material like balsa wood. So everything appears to be nicely packed into its little boxes, into little bags. Lots of sellotape, as I say. So I think if I lift this off, it's got the power cable here, so just get that out of the way, lift that off, that's all the bits. We'll have a look at the detail of those later. And here we have the actual table saw. So I'll lift this out, make a little bit of noise, and then we'll have a look at it. So there we are. Before starting operation, open upper casing and remove the transport safety device. Right, I am not going to take this apart because I have no idea what I'm doing, and I need to look at the manual. And yes, I am going to look at the manual because this wasn't cheap and I want to make sure it's right. But that's well packed. As I say, it comes with quite a few add-ons. It's got a very hefty book of instructions, which I will be looking at to set it up properly. So let's have a quick look at these add-ons. I'll just undo all of the plastic, and we'll have a look and see what there is. So we've got guides, so that's obviously an angle so that you can set to different angles. We've got a pusher, which is always useful when you've got spinning blades at high speed. This is the actual guard that goes over the blade. It came with some oil and a brush. I think that's what that is. I'll find out, and some tools, so that's pretty cool. Another guide, and another guide. So as I say, I'll get this set up and make some use, and it will come into videos just as general use, and then once I've got my thoughts together on it, I will try and do a bit of a review video and say whether I think it's worthwhile or not. But first sight, it's nice and compact, and that's what I need, because obviously while I've got lots of space, storage, you don't want a big tool. I've got a full-sized table saw downstairs, but the kern on that is way too much for what I'm doing. I'd waste so much material, it'll be crazy. So having this is going to be really good for those really fine cuts. If we have a look at this blade, you'll see what I mean. The kern on these blades is much smaller, so let me just get that opened so you can see. Look at how fine the teeth on that are, and it's a very thin kern, so that's going to be perfect for what I need. So yeah, very happy actually at first sight. I'll do a proper review video at some point, but yeah, let's see when I can get to use this first, and let's see how easy it is for me to actually set up. Pretty cool. The next stage on this involves texture. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to get white glue, my terrain glue, which is PVA mixed up with water and a little bit of washing up liquid or dishwater soap, or whatever you want to call it, from wherever you are. That is a very good basis for gluing down texture onto this sort of terrain. So if you have a look at the clips and what have you, you'll see that there's a lot of detritus, a lot of rubble. It's a ruined place, Erebor. It's not fresh and clean. So I'm going to start the layers of rubble and piles of things like this, just randomly around with with lumps of this terrain glue. And I'm going to scatter on 2 different sizes of sifted sand. And this is sifted sand that just comes out of it's what we get delivered by the builders, literally from the builder's yard. So it's nothing special. And I put it through different sizes of sieve. So this is what I call number 3, which is the 3rd largest sieve I use. And I'll put that down first. And just scatter that in places like this to do little piles. And the idea is this will obviously be painted and then dry brushed, so this will all be brought out properly. And don't worry if you make a mess, because it'll be resealed again. This isn't the only application of glue this takes. So you just put a little bit of this on, and then once you've done enough of that size, for my slightly smaller, which I call my grade 2, I use a spoon because it makes it a little bit easier to apply. You will make a mess at this stage. You will need to, once it's dried, shake off the loose, and it might take more than one layer to build up the effect that you're looking for, because if you look in the films, it's not all gravelly. There's just piles of gravel in places. So probably the stuff that doesn't stick, you'll want to re-sift back into your bucket. So there we are, simple as that. So what I'll do is I will now mark out, this is where it starts to get important, where my forge is going to be. So I'll mark out where I'm going to put my forge, and I am going to go with the small forge, disappointing as it is in one sense. I just don't have time to do the idea I had, which was to print it so that it was only the facade, but as wide as this, so it would have been huge. I just haven't had time to do the cutting of the file and do the preparation, though that would have been much better, obviously. It would have been huge as well. It would have looked amazing, but it would have taken a lot longer than I've had to devote to this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark around this, and I'm not going to glue that in place. So I will be able to come back and finish this project when I've got a bit more time with actually, apologies for that noise, Rosie's birthday. We bought her a set of walkie-talkies and she's playing with them. And I've got one, obviously. So yeah, so I'll probably come back and add that if I get time. But for now, I'm going to act as if I don't have time. So I'll do a few more piles over this side, and then I'll leave that to dry, and that's the next step done. During my 20 minutes this week, I've managed to get Rahki Ahmbo, my character for the next D&D campaign that I'm going to be joining for Curse of Strahd. Managed to get him painted up. Pretty pleased with how he's looking, and yeah, that's done. So I need to base him up. I'm still working on his girlfriend, who I think might be deceased in my backstory, but still building that story, working out what I'm going to do. But I'm really pleased with how he's turned out. Some very nice model and painted up really nice. So yeah, I'll have to base him, of course, and I'll show you how I do that. I'll finish painting his girlfriend as well, and I've got an idea of how it's going to work. Hopefully it'll work out. It's quite an adventurous one, so I'll show you what it looks like when I get to it and start planning it. But for now, the painting's done, and I'm happy about that. Well, there we are. That was a fun week. A lot of variety, actually. Did more than I realised in terms of variety. I thought I'd literally just spent the whole time doing TCU and then the Heroic Highlights one. But I did finish off Bexia, which is really cool. I'm really looking forward to giving that to my friends. And obviously the Clockwork Dragon and Rahki Ahmbo is pretty cool as well. And yeah, there'll be more coming next week, obviously. So do watch out for my vlog every Sunday. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, particularly if you get this far. I also do reply to every comment that's left, so do leave comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything you particularly like or don't like or would do differently. I love all the comments, positive and negative. They really do make me want to make more videos. So yeah, keep them coming. And I will wrap up this video by saying slightly oddly, but I do mean it, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.